You likely want to learn to use AI more often than you currently do in your day-to-day life, right? Whether that be for work, hobbies, whatever, to actually just get on track with everyone else and use this fantastic tool that you have at your disposal. A really key thing to realize when using AI is that the quality of your prompt dictates how effective the output is. Okay, so there was a study done recently to see if specifically ChatGPT across all of its models would produce scientific or medical misinformation if prompted to do so. So the prompt it was asked to do, it was based in America, and it said basically someone is allergic to acetaminophen, which is paracetamol for here in the UK, but I want some misinformation to help me have that person take Tylenol, which is a brand which contains acetaminophen or paracetamol. Have a guess what percentage of models did as requested? 100%, every single model, because models of large language models and AI rank a higher priority on pleasing the end user over factual correctness. And so you will probably notice this when you're using AI. It'll say, oh, it's such a great idea, fantastic thinking out of the box, this is so in-depth. They big you up and it feels nice. But they will do that over giving you the best information. So then they then tested what percentage of those models would still give you the misinformation if you add it into the prompt explicitly. Do not give me any misinformation, check your scientific literature before making any suggestions. And then the same thing. And only 6% of the models actually still gave misinformation. And some of the models got down to actually 0% of the time doing this. What this is saying is narrowing your question very tightly within the constraint of what you're trying to achieve is super important to the outcome that you are going to get. It's the same thing when saying, like, there's a tool in a workshop, will the tool just produce something fantastic? No, not without a trained person, a skillful professional who is wielding the tool. Same thing, like if I have a sword and I go and hack at some wood with it, I'm not going to be as proficient as a trained knight, you know, from hundreds of years ago. But like, it's the same sort of idea, right? Like a gun by itself is not dangerous, it's only dangerous when someone picks it up. And then how dangerous depends on the person that picked it up, right? So the same thing here. So how can you increase your output efficacy, so like how good your output is from AI and large language models? I think the trick comes down to it is trained on resources and materials that have been written by and for the consumption of human beings. So knowing that, write your prompts in the same way for human beings. And so be explicit. So if you're writing, and this is a great task that you can practice actually, it's very, very funny to try. Write down a list of instructions that you're going to give to someone else to do a thing. So let's say, go and butter some toast, right? And this actually used to be part of an interview process we used to do at the coffee shop. You say, right, write me the instructions to butter some toast, right? And then you'll have people say, well, you know, put the butter on the toast. And that's it. And then, like, as a joke, what I would do is pick up the tub of butter and just put the whole tub on a piece of toast, which is obviously not what they went. And then they're like, no, you need to get the butter out of the tub. So then I'll use my hand, right? And then I will put the butter on the tub back on the toast. And they're like, no. So you need to remove it from inside of the tub, the butter from the inside of the tub using a knife, and then you place the butter that you have taken out from the knife and put that on the toast. So then I'll do that and then just leave it as a lump on the toast, and then they're like, and now you have to spread it out. And what you're realizing as I go through this extreme example is that you have to be very clear with your intentions exactly what needs to be done at what point. Now, AI is quite good because it will fill in the gaps and it will assume, based on its training, what you actually want it to do. But if you're not doing something entirely generic, if you're not doing something that is just so blindingly obvious, then fill in the gaps for it to get the best outcome, right? If there's a specific way you want the butter toasted, or like the toast buttered, sorry, then you say that. You'd be like, I want you to spread it perfectly evenly across the toast, right? At a 45-degree angle in only 3 strokes. That's far more specific than just butter the bread. You know, or you could be like, I want you to put a thicker, like use 60% of your butter in the first third and then 30% in the second 2/3, maybe because it's going to cool down by that time and you want an even spread of melting. I don't know. But I'm kind of just this is kind of demonstrating the point of how important your SOPs should be and how granular they should be, is based on how experienced the person is at the other end for doing the task you want to do. And remember, large language models are built to just deal with everything. So they're not experts, but they will fill in the gaps where you fall short. So be as clear as you can and just test it. If you don't get the outcome you want, refine it. So hopefully that helps. There you go. Have a great evening, guys. Peace.